Hello guys, it is Bethany and today is December 6th when I'm filming this and I am just now sitting down to film my November wrap-up. So let's do it. I'm going to try not to ramble in this video because I tend to do that and then it becomes repetitive and I'm saying the same things over and over again and you're like, Bethany, we get it. You like the book, let's move on. So I'm gonna try to keep these short and concise and I'm very excited. So I read 14 books in the month of November. I don't know how, it just kind of happened. A few of these I read reading vlogs for, or I did reading vlogs for, so I won't talk about them much because obviously I filmed me reading them. It doesn't matter how many books you read in a month, as long as you're enjoying them. Quality over quantity. So anyways, let's get into it. I also read a lot of holiday books in preparation for holiday videos in December. So let's do it. So first, I read Merry Xmas by Courtney Walsh. I actually read this on Kindle Unlimited and I loved it so much that I bought the physical copy and it's so pretty, like so cute. I read A Cross Country Christmas by her last year and loved it. It's like one of my favorite Christmas romances of all time and I was so excited when she came out with this one. I'm pretty sure it came out this month or maybe in October. I don't really know, but I loved it so much. So basically it's about this girl named Marin, M-A-R-I-N. So basically this girl named Marin hasn't been home for Christmas in 8 years and she finally goes home to basically kind of film for a show that she works at in order to get a hosting position. So her and this other girl are competing against each other to get a hosting job for their own show, and so she goes home for Christmas and is like filming their like adventures, and she gets to her parents' house and her ex-boyfriend opens the door. So it is like a second chance romance kind of. And I loved it. I thought it was so cute. It is also closed door, which I love. I put small town, second chance romance, Christmas traditions, forced proximity, dual POV, closed door. Just the most wholesome book wrapped in Christmas magic. So I highly recommend this book. It's one of my favorites of all time. So specifically for like holiday romances, I highly recommend it. Obviously that's why I bought the physical copy, because I was obsessed. And then I read The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I really enjoyed this. I gave it, oh, did I say this? I gave this 5 stars. Nobody's surprised. Honestly, The Simple Wild, I don't think I rated it because I couldn't decide what to rate it. I have a struggle with this book. So basically it's about Kala, and she has this estranged father who lives in Alaska, and she's living in somewhere in Canada. I cannot remember. I don't know. But anyway, she lives in Canada and she has an estranged father that lives in Alaska, and she ends up going to Alaska and she meets this guy who is a bush pilot and he's kind of grumpy, and you just see what happens. I really loved the setting of this book. I thought it was so fun, like the Alaska like bush pilot setting with that kind of character. I loved it so much. But the thing about this book is like the first 180 pages are kind of slow and I kind of didn't like the characters until that point. So I was like struggling with this, and everyone loves this book and I did enjoy it, but I feel like it took me a while to get into it, which is disappointing because I was hoping that I would like start it and really enjoy it. So like I did tab it, but as you can see I didn't start tabbing it until like basically halfway through, which is kind of annoying. Like I don't like when it's like halfway through and we're just getting to the stuff that's happening, you know? I want things to start happening pretty soon, but obviously they have to like build the characters and all that stuff. But at first I thought Jonah was kind of mean, but I did start to like him. So I'm struggling with this book. I didn't rate it because I cannot decide what to rate it. I feel like 4 stars is like kind of harsh. I don't know. I don't really know, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. Also, it was very spicy, so beware of that. It wasn't the spiciest book I've ever read, but there was definitely some spice in it. And then I read Matthew Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. And I did really enjoy this book. I've heard like mixed reviews on it, but honestly, I really enjoyed it. I love Friends. I've watched it so many times. I obviously was not born or alive when Friends was first airing, but I watched it first when I was in high school, and then I just rewatched it over the years, and I think it's so funny. I love it. It's one of my favorite shows, and so I really wanted to read this book specifically to hear about him on Friends and his life and things like that. And I have to say, like, there is some stuff about Friends in the book, but it's mostly about just his life in general. I would check trigger warnings before reading this because it is quite heavy and the subject matter is quite heavy. There's a lot about drug, alcohol, like addictions and things like that. So it's kind of really hard to read at times because like you just can't believe he was going through that. And also so much of that was documented because he was filming Friends during some of those times, like during the peak of it and things like that. It breaks my heart that that was his life. Like so much of his life was tied up in addiction, which makes me sad. But there was also some Christian elements where he found the Lord in part of these moments when he was going through addiction, which I think is really beautiful. So I really enjoyed it, and I just really like him as a person. Also, it's kind of cool when you read it, you learn that the character Chandler, so much of him was based on Matthew Perry and who he is as a person. And so if you watch Friends and you see Chandler, so many of those like little quirks or things that he struggled with are things that Matthew Perry also have. Like, they're very similar. The character was based off Matthew Perry as a person. Once they started filming, they really tied in more of who he was into the character, and so I thought that was really interesting as well. But I really enjoyed it. I do recommend reading it if you do like Friends or you like him. It's not like 100% all about Friends, because that's not all he did or all he has done with his life, but there are some elements of that, and I did cry a couple times. So, and then I finished the Simple Wild series. So I read Wild at Heart, and then I read Forever Wild. And so Wild at Heart is basically like, I don't want to give too much away, because obviously if I tell you what this one's about, it ruins the first one, but you can kind of just guess. It is following this first book, so it's literally right after the first book. And I did enjoy this, but I also felt like it was very slow at the beginning, and I didn't really tab very much of it, so I was kind of struggling with it. But I also really liked the setting, and I thought it was interesting. Like, you're kind of just reading about the setting and like just living life and things like that, which I kind of really enjoyed, but I also felt like it was kind of slow. So I don't think I rated this one either, to be honest. No, I didn't. I said the first like 180 pages were kind of slow, but it does pick up, and I really enjoyed it. Also, one thing about this book, the found family and the characters is so good. I love that. I love the found family, and that ties into Forever Wild. This is a novella. It's basically just the Christmas season after this book. So it's like first one, the second one, the third one immediately following each other. And this one is just the month of December, I'm pretty sure, and I really enjoyed it. I did give this one 5 stars because I thought it was so cute, so wholesome, and it's very much like a holiday romance. So, well, not holiday romance technically, but like it's a holiday type book, and there's some romance in it because obviously it's following these two characters. And the found family is so good, and the like wholesome Christmas vibes, I just loved it. I really enjoyed it all the way through. I really was like excited to keep reading it, while the first half of the other 2 books were a little hard to get into because there wasn't much going on, but I did enjoy it. And then I felt like after I finished these books, I like missed the characters. And there is another book in the series, but it's based on another character, not the same couple, and I do want to read it. I'm probably gonna ask for it for Christmas. And the end was so cute, honestly. I wrote that down in my notes, but I don't remember what happened at the end. Oh my goodness, I do remember the end, and it was so cute. I'm so excited about the end of this. I had to like look again because I couldn't remember, but I loved the end. It was so cute. But this one I really loved, and I feel like I would recommend the series as a whole, even though I haven't read the 4th one. But I feel like even just these 3 are specifically about the same characters, and I did really enjoy them. I feel like they're fun for Christmas, for winter time. And then I also wrote that I didn't want the like series to end, and specifically that book to end, because I felt like the characters were like family, because I had like read them for so many books, or only 3 books, but you know, I had been reading about them for so long, so I was like, I felt like we were like family, you know? So I really did enjoy that. And then I read like a little novella, Christmas Like This, by Corinna Taylor, and I thought this was cute, sweet. I gave it 4 stars. It's basically about these 2 characters that are tasked with making like setting up a Christmas party for their work, because they are like co-workers, and they don't really like get along. It's kind of like enemies to lovers, but honestly, I'm like weary about saying enemies to lovers when it doesn't like have to do with fantasy, because I feel like this is not enemies to lovers. Like, they just had like like they thought they didn't like each other, but really like, you know what I'm talking about if you read Enemies to Lovers romance. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was cute. It is closed door, which I really liked. It was short, sweet, loved it. It was like 100 pages, maybe less than that. So I really did enjoy it. And then next is The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I did a reading vlog reading this book, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was so cute. I'm obsessed with this book. It was so cute. The cover is freaking adorable. I will link my reading vlog below, but to give a little brief summary, I rated this book 5 stars. Nobody's surprised. I liked it more than better than the movies. I liked the characters more. I feel like they were more relatable, specifically the main character, Emily. I feel like she was more relatable, and I feel like the story was super unique and fun and interesting. It's basically about Emily who goes through her day on Valentine's Day and then ends up repeating it over and over again. It's like a Groundhog Day type vibe, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so cute. It was also that kind of story where the guy was like kind of closed off and guarded, and then he opened up for the girl, which I just love. I love that so much. So I really enjoyed it. Thought it was so cute. If you want to watch my reading vlog on this book, I will link it below, because I talk obviously a lot about it, and then I read it in the vlog. It's also, I wrote closed door, but it's a YA romance, so there's no spice in it, which is great. So highly recommend. But I feel like the emotional like connection was still good in the book. So anyways, loved it. Next, I read Shatter Me by, I don't know how you say that, Tahira Mafi? I'm not really sure, but honestly, I was really surprised by this book. I went to Books A Million and I had like a 50% off, and I was like, I'm just gonna get this on a whim. I had seen some stuff about it, and then I looked it up on my Bookstagram and saw some quotes. And that really motivates me to buy a book because it makes me want to read it if the quotes are really cute. So I bought it, and then I read it like pretty quickly. It's basically about this girl named Juliet, and she has like a lethal touch, and so when she touches someone, they die. Well, kind of. They could possibly die. Like, her touch is lethal. Anyways, and basically she is locked up at the beginning of this book, and this like new government has taken over, and they're like afraid of her. I don't really know how to explain it. I feel like it's so hard to explain like a dystopian fantasy. So I don't really know besides that she has the lethal touch. And there's this new government, which is kind of like a dystopian, you know what I mean? So anyways, I did give this book 4 stars, but honestly, it has been quite a few weeks since I finished this book, and I still think about it. Like, I cannot stop thinking about this book, and I literally asked for the rest of the series, like for Christmas. I asked for them for Christmas because I just can't stop thinking about this book. And I just think it was so good. Like, everything about it was so good. I feel like it was so easy to read, and you're like hooked from the very first page because it is written obviously in first person from Juliet, but it's like she's writing, so you have parts that are like marked out, and the grammar isn't like proper grammar because she is like writing it as if she was sitting down and writing it and you were just reading her journal, which I found really interesting and so easy to read. Like, you were just like eating it up because you can't put it down because it's so interesting to read when it's like written like that, you know? I do have to say it is YA, but I felt like some of the things were kind of like dark in a way. Like, okay, I'm going to say some triggers and they might be spoilers if you haven't read the book. I don't really think they are because I would probably want to know, but I'm just going to say this now about this book because I want to say it if you're going to read it, because I feel like it's like good information to have because I would want to know it. So, spoiler? Okay. So a couple things that I thought were kind of dark about this book, specifically because it was supposed to be YA. Like, it is YA. It's in the YA section. It's YA, which I feel like in the writing I would probably agree with, but like there were some specific things that I feel like were a little heavy. One being child abuse, and then the other being torture. Like, there was a few scenes with both of those things, and I'm assuming it's going to go throughout the whole book or the whole series. But I thought that was super heavy and very hard to read in moments, so I don't know what I would do in like adult fantasy dystopian if it's like that, like, because I feel like that was probably pretty mild compared to adult fiction. But yeah, so I just want to let you know that I feel like it's really good and really enjoyable, but there were some moments where I was like, this is like really sad, and abuse and torture and things like that like are really hard for me to read in general. I feel like I don't know how that would be easy to read, but some people like it doesn't affect them, but like me, I just like, it like makes me sad. I have too much empathy in some cases, but in this case, like, I just like felt so bad for the characters. So they were very small scenes, but I do want to say that there are that in this book, so be aware of that. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it, and I could not put it down, and I still think about it like literally every day, like once a day I'm thinking about this book and how I can't wait to finish the series. So next, I read A Match Made at Christmas by Courtney Walsh. I also gave this 5 stars. Loved it. Thought it was so cute. I think it's a like novella. It's pretty short, like maybe 100 pages, I'm not really sure, but it's basically like best friends to lovers type book, so if you like that, you'll definitely enjoy this. And it's basically about this girl who lives on Nantucket, and she is the one that's decorating a tree in Nantucket, and so her best friend is coming to town to watch it, and then it ends up like going from there. I don't want to give too much away, even though it's literally probably the title of the book and in the description of the book. I feel like best friends to lovers. It's in Nantucket, it's closed door, and I thought it was just really, really cute. I wrote, I'm giving this 5 stars because it was pure Christmas magic and holiday joy, and I loved every minute of it. I love the friends to lovers and their Christmas traditions on Nantucket. Courtney Walsh is just so good. So loved it so much. That was so cute. And Courtney Walsh, all of her books, all of her Christmas books that I've read, I've loved so much. And then next, I couldn't stop thinking about Shatter Me. So I read one of the novellas on my Kindle. It's called Destroy Me, and it is from Warner's point of view, and I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but I do have to say I like him as a character more now that I've read that book, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so interesting, and you learn a lot about him as a character, and it makes me really excited to continue the series. Next are the 4 books that I read in my holiday romances reading vlog, so I'm not gonna say too much about these because I just did a whole reading vlog on them, all my thoughts as I read them, rating, review, all that good stuff. So I will link that below if you want to watch it. But first, I read The Holiday by Haley Gardner, and this is basically like a rivals to lovers type holiday romance, and it's closed door. It is set in Franklin and Nashville area, which I really loved. I thought it was just super cute, fun. I gave it 4 stars. And I just thought it was sweet. Like, I really enjoyed myself. I enjoyed my time reading it, and it is dual POV, so that's fun. There's some birds. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really cute. Then I read A Convenient Christmas by Jodie Holford, and I gave that 5 stars. I thought it was just the cutest, sweetest holiday romance. It's basically about this girl. There's a bird. It's about this girl who has a like event planning business, but she mostly does decorating for Christmas, and then she gets hired by this client to decorate her client's son's house, and then it's like a get off on the wrong foot, and then he has a daughter, and so it's like a single dad trope. It was just so cute, so wholesome, very cheesy, very unrealistic, but I didn't really care. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It's like 200 pages, so the Holiday is like a novella, so it's like 100 pages, but A Convenient Christmas is like 200, so not like super short. Next, I read Baggage Claim by Juliana Smith, and I loved this book so much, so much. I gave it 5 stars. Loved it so much. It's basically about this girl who is going to Aspen, Colorado to visit her family. She told them she had a boyfriend. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She meets a guy on the plane. He becomes her boyfriend, or her fake boyfriend, and they do a bunch of Christmassy things. They go skiing. There is some family drama in this book, and I did guess what it was, but I don't really care because I loved it so much. So, and then I read Love Light Farms by BK Borison, and I literally flew through this book. I read the majority of it in one sitting because I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars, obviously. I just give out 5 stars like I'm Oprah, you know? It is basically like a best friends to lovers type book, and she owns this Christmas tree farm. Basically, the premise of the book is she applied for this contest through an influencer for her to come to the Christmas tree farm, and if she wins, she gets a cash prize and all this stuff, and she's like trying to save her business. But honestly, that part of the story doesn't really pick up until like the very end. You're really getting, well, not the very end, but like farther into the book, you're really just getting the connection between the characters, which I loved so much. And I just thought it was so cute. It is not closed door. It is very spicy, so be aware of that. But overall, I just thought it was so cute. Like, I loved it so much. I thought it was just adorable and the cutest Christmassy book. And I highly recommend. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I read in November. I had like a really great reading month. I feel like I read so many good books. Like, I didn't rate anything below a 4-star, which is really good. Honestly, I'm very generous with my rating, so just like take that with a grain of salt. But I really enjoyed all these books. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to subscribe. I'm posting all the time in December. I don't have like a set days that I'm posting. I have been posting Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, but honestly, I'm trying to post anytime. You can also follow me on Instagram and my Bookstagram. I'm also going to be doing something really fun on my Bookstagram for Christmas in a few days, so I'm very excited. Honestly, I need to start that pretty soon. Like next week, I think I'm going to start this fun like thing that I'm going to do, but I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm very excited about it. So if you want more holiday content, specifically book content, follow my Bookstagram because I have some fun posts that are coming up soon. So anyways, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for being here. I am so thankful for you. I'm so thankful that you watch my videos, that you enjoy listening to me talk about books for 30 minutes. And I'll see you very soon for my next video. Bye. There is a gnat flying around my face. Okay. Bye.